access from the comfort of your home. So we're looking into Medicare 65 Plus is open for enrollment. If you join right now, before January 31st, your second month will be free. So don't miss this chance. Call 844-SHARE-65. That's 844-SHARE-65. 844-SHARE-65.
That's Fort Lime and the Fast Safer Traffic Center. 95 North starting to see some congestion as you head through downtown, but the big story is 15 southbound, which is bumper to bumper from Charleston down to Tropicana. And over the exit ramp, 15 south to Tropicana are now closed for a significant amount of time. The westbound ramp shut down until October. The eastbound ramp won't be open until summer of 2024. Now the exit ramps from 15 northbound to Tropicana, they're still open, and drivers can still get on to 15 southbound at Tropicana. Mitch Kelly with your Fast Safer Traffic.
Gutfeld, these guys, they're putting out a dog. I watch Gutfeld. He's the number one guy. DeRosa was just on. It's so funny. The community show app. 1.3 million viewers. There you go. Less than half the viewers of Gutfeld. They have found that 3 million subscribers on his YouTube channel, but this does not drive advertising rates for the show. His YouTube channel's way better than the show. Yeah, they just do clips of it. Yeah, you get views if you wanted to get a clip. I'll get you views. But like, Gutfeld's out there just throw crazy. Form an alternative to what everyone's down your throat. You know, it's like the same thing on every network. The same kind of jokes about the same kind of people. And these are the dummies. And then on his show, he's got a bunch of little Looney Tunes. And it's amazing how much more popular it is than those other network shows. Isn't it crazy that the Democrats haven't figured out how to do a show like that? We just get comics and sit around and talk, bring people on, look around, and that's your talk show. And you review the news together, where you all mock it. You read something that Biden did, and everybody's like,
yeah, and that is so true. And you know, we always talk about the late night shows here, even before Greg Gutfeld got the job. But Greg has been funny on Saturday nights. He was funny on Red Eye. I used to know it, and I used to tell you about it, Allison, because I'm coming. We were both coming in roughly. You come in like 2 hours late, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm in. I was doing the show. So I did the show a few times, and then I come in at 3 o'clock, and it'd be hysterical. I used to be, and people know that Red Eye is on because it was risque and everything, and they did Saturday night. And then Suzanne Scott had this great idea of throwing out 5 nights a week, move Shannon Bream to midnight, and his monologue for 12 minutes, and it just leaves, you know, it'll bring up Trump once in a while, but every other late night, you don't realize how good Greg is until you watch the other shows. You know, Jimmy Kimmel is still leaning on every night on Trump.
It's not funny. Like, you know, every now and then I'll still look at them to try to find a joke, and it's a waste of time.
And we used to live off them. I used to love coming in and hearing what the latest for the monologue was.
Yeah.
But, so Gutfeld's better, and Joe Rogan is the #1 podcaster, and he said, he's a real person with other real people. Those other guys are being talk show hosts. People don't want that anymore.
And the other guys are afraid to, go off script, right? It's just so overly scripted, and they're doing just, sort of the comedic talking points of just slamming Trump all the time. Gordon will have some fun things. At another point in the show, I do have one joke from him last night. But
I did watch it. I do DVR that, and I did watch it. But number one, I fast forward to the whole beginning. Goes into he doesn't do stand-up monologue anymore, and then he does it at the desk. He makes like a radio show, a little bit, kind of ping-pongs around. But he kills me. They're all wearing masks. Kills me.
Not as much as they used to, though.
No, the crew, the cameraman, his 3 producers sitting in the first row were wearing masks. Are you kidding me? Are you nuts?
They're in California.
Unbelievable. So, he has some lines, but he's out. And word is, not a nice guy, number one. Number 2 is, he's a little bored. And number 3 is, I guess it's not worth the budget. Because I guess he's a big budget show. The ratings aren't great, even though I think he's the best of the bunch, now counting Greg. Definitely the most dynamic, definitely the most, well, Jimmy Fallon can do anything too, but Jimmy Fallon also can't interview. So he can't ask a question.
But I thought Gordon's the one that wanted to end it. Or maybe.
That's what I thought, but I was listening again, and the word is just like a little like Noah on The Daily Show. He's like, yeah, I'm just about done, and then it comes out a little bit later, you're not getting any ratings, you cost a ton of money, why don't you just call? So now he's got to go do other stuff. I mean, this guy can do anything, but I'll tell you what, James Corden, you want to play a clip?
We can play the clip, assuming Eric has it. Gordon made a little Biden joke.
The Golden State Warriors at the White House to celebrate the team's 2022 NBA championship. They gave Biden a jersey with his name on it, and this is nice in return. Biden gave each player a top secret document.
Funny,
Yeah.
right?
But none of it, yeah.
That to me, so if he goes and hits the Republicans after that over the crazy chaos, like the speaker, it just relaxes people. That's what SNL used to do. They used to put up both people for a debate, and they used to mock Gore and Bush. That was funny. When you only knock one of them, it's not funny. You go, all right, I'm not going to play into this.
Or if you just knock the one that's actually funny and just knock each side when it's funny. I mean, he didn't then have like a Trump joke because that wasn't where the jokes were going. He just saw an opportunity for a funny Biden joke and called it a day. Whereas Kimmel or Colbert then have to find something to hit Trump even harder about.
Right, and when we had that writer on for the New York Times, and he was on and he said he feels bad for these guys because they can't break out of that pro-Democrat, anti-Trump mode. What are they going to do? And now we're 2 years out. Trump has really not done much. And when he does come back, I know it'll be interesting, and Trump will make some mistakes and do some things he shouldn't, and they'll understand that. But it's not going to be enough. You have an 80-year-old guy who's forgetting everything, including the name of the person he's singing happy birthday to. Somebody, everyone lives this dementia, who just called Republicans demented. He was just speaking on Martin Luther King Day and started segueing into the economy with Al Sharpton sitting there looking at African-American rights. Don't tell me there's no humor in that. When a guy can't find the exit or which way to leave, when he gets pulled over by a mascot because he was going to do an interview that he should, how could that not be party monologue?
100%.
Brian Kilby Show. Keep it here. Where the hell are we? Americans, listen up. The stock market just came off one of its worst years since 2008. History is repeating itself. Meanwhile, financial planners are saying, hey, sit back. Wait it out. Traditional stock investing will never be the same. That ship has sailed, and alternative investing is the solution. So listen, protect your retirement savings with physical gold and silver. These timeless assets have always been used for protection during uncertain times. Fact is, with a simple IRS loophole, you can convert your retirement savings to gold and silver, protecting your wealth all tax-free. I trust American Alternative Assets. So should you. They're A+ and accredited members of the Better Business Bureau. So, call now, and you get to receive your wealth protection guide. And here's the phone number to call, 855 the number 4 USA Gold. Again, that's 855 the number 4 USA Gold. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. That's 855, the number 4 USA Gold.
Oculus at Palms Casino Resort, where you can play to win your share of $225,000 in Birkin bags, Rolex watches, and free play. Earn entry January 1st through March 4th. Then on February 25th and March 4th, a handbag, watch, or up to $9,000 in free play could be yours. Must be a Club Toronto member. Sign up this free. Luxurious style. Courtesy of Palms Casino Resort. Birkin, trademark of Hermes International, and Rolex is a trademark of Rolex Watch USA, Inc. Neither Hermes nor Rolex are co-sponsored or affiliated with this promotion. Details at homes.com. Must be 21 or older to participate. Please get it. Here you go. When life slings you mud, fling it right back with a powerful Toyota truck. The toughest nails Tacoma stuff for almost anything. The legendary 4Runner takes on all competitors. And the off-road ready Tundra has so many premium features. You gotta take a spin. Let's go. Toyota trucks. Find yours at Toyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota. Let's go places. Visit your Southern Nevada Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. KEWN Las Vegas, KMXBHC3 Henderson, K268CS Las Vegas. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
He's accused of killing his wife. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Brian Walsh in court moments ago in Massachusetts. I said motion and emotion. Looking at Assistant Norfolk County DA Lynn Veland, she read a list of evidence against Walsh, whose wife Anna has been missing for more than 2 weeks.
We have heard all the way up there the last 16 days a ton of circumstantial evidence, including surveillance video of him in the Home Depot buying cleaning supplies. We know that there was also the fact that they found blood and a broken knife in the family basement.
Fox's Brian Yanis outside the court in Quincy. The couple has 3 young children, all now in state custody. A not-so-rosy forecast from the head of the United Nations. Our world is plagued by a perfect storm on a number of fronts. Start with the short letter. A global economic crisis. UN leader Antonio Guterres at the World Economic Forum. He then told Fox Business Network's Maria Bartiromo his big concerns are price of food, price of energy. At the same time, we are losing the battle with climate change. One positive thing on the economy, amid recession fears in the U.S., wholesale inflation dropped last month from November. And year over year, the producer price increase shrank a 6th straight month down to 6.2%. In Ukraine, a helicopter crashed near a kindergarten outside Kyiv.
And this emergency service helicopter, part of it crashing into the roof of this kindergarten. What is now believed at this point to be a pilot error and potential mechanical issue in this morning's fog. At least 9 people who were on that helicopter, including Ukraine's Interior Minister, his first deputy in state security, have died.
Fox's Alex Hogan in Kyiv said at least 5 others were killed, including a child. Kids were among the few dozen injured. America's listening to Fox News.
My friend had his home stolen. The crime is home title theft. It's real. It's horrendous, but it's real, and it's everywhere. And luckily, this was just a demo, but I saw how criminals all around the world target American homeowners, and that's why I protect my home with Home Title Lock, and you need to as well. And a thief can simply forge your signature on a legal document saying you sold your home to them. Homeowners insurance and common identity theft programs do not protect you, but Home Title Lock does. So protect yourself. Just go to their website. It's HometitleLock.com/Sean, S-E-A-N. Verify your home's title is still safely in your name. Then just register your address for a free, no-obligation home title report for your files. That is a $100 value, absolutely free. That's HometitleLock.com/Sean. HometitleLock.com/Sean, S-E-A-N.
That's more live in the Time Saver Traffic Center. 15 south, big mess from Charleston down to Tropicana, where the exit ramps are closed. The westbound ramp shut down through October. The eastbound ramp closed until summer of 2024. And Tropicana really ramped up. Remember that what used to be HOV lanes through that area, they're now open to all, no matter how many are in the vehicle. Elsewhere, 95 northbound struggling some Charleston through downtown. Eastside injury accident, eastern south of Washington. Rich Kelly with your Time Saver Traffic.
Balance of Nature, fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I'm in the medical field, and I think when you start out these things, everything from the advertisements sounds so
work. It's working. Anyway, I'm happy.
Balance of Nature has made a big difference. It's just one of the greatest products, and it's just so simple, and it works.
Balance of Nature is a fantastic product. You can tell it's real. You can taste it. And it gives you really good energy, and it's just right up there with rent, electric cable, and things that you have to have. I'm not selling Balance of Nature. No, I love it.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature right now. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com for more information or to place your order. Shipping is always free. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code VEGAS. Need a self-storage unit? Neighbor.com. Need to store a boat? Neighbor.com. Need to store boxes of clothing? Neighbor.com. Need to store your RV? Neighbor.com. Need to store an old couch? Neighbor.com. Need to store a business vehicle? Neighbor.com. Whenever you need storage, store with a neighbor on Neighbor.com. Each host is verified, and you can get up to $50,000 in protection. Safer, closer, and cheaper than a storage unit. Stop overpaying for storage. Go to Neighbor.com now. Neighbor.com.
Inflation and over $31 trillion in debt. It's looking like 2008 all over again. Millions of Americans watch their retirement savings disappear, while those who invested in physical gold and silver were protected. And if you have $50,000 or more in your IRA, 401k, or savings, you could be at risk again. Right now, thousands of Americans are using an IRS loophole to add physical gold and silver to their retirement savings. So call 855-815-GOLD to get a free gold IRA kit and learn how thousands are protecting their retirement savings with gold and silver. Protect your savings, and as a Sean Hannity fan, you can get up to $10,000 in free silver to do it. Goldco has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, thousands of customer reviews, and they've helped place over $1 billion in precious metals. We could be looking at a recession worse than 2008. So don't wait. Call Goldco today. Call 855-815-GOLD. That's 855-815-GOLD.
1015 FM, 720 AM. K-Dog. From high atop Fox News headquarters in New York City.
Thank you so much. Your work ethic and your enthusiasm and your commitment to ideas.
The most approachable radio host in America.
Brian Kilby sent me a signed book, and
I am mad at crush on you. You know this for a very long time.
Now, are you listening to me because you're looking at the screen? He's Brian Kilby. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. It's the Brian Kilby Show. Standing by is Congressman Jim Banks, running for senator. And he made that clear yesterday on Fox and Friends. We'll talk to him about everything breaking with his current job as Congress, as well as Trey Gowdy at the bottom of the hour. You want to know the ins and outs of investigations the right way and mistakes made in the past in Congress. Trey Gowdy's to do it. He's also a great prosecutor, as well as an excellent talk show host. He has it all. We know the President of the United States has been on defense. Doesn't want to take many questions. The bigger question is, too, I mean, the next time he sits down, tradition would have it, would be at the Super Bowl in 3 weeks. They always, the president's really now for, dating back to George W. Bush, maybe even prior. I think George W. Bush, the president sits down every Super Bowl. Is he going to avoid it this time because of the controversy? Big three. Now with the stories you need to know, it's Brian's Big Three.
Number 3.
I had a conversation with the governor of Texas about him, Greg Abbott. He was explaining to me what George Soros does. Like, he wants these cities to fall apart. He wants crime to flourish.
That is Joe Rogan, of course, talking about George Soros. Media Research Center does a study, and it turns out they found so many people, countless big-time personalities and executives who have taken George Soros' money. And you imagine, to trumpet his anti-American message, it is ugly.
Number 2.
And when you stop to think about it, it's pretty extraordinary that we, a select group of human beings, are interested in the room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial.
I got the radio up too loud. It wasn't that good.
Debt ceiling, WEC, crypto on the economy. We're out of this nation, and Mike Davos is everything you don't want to be.
Number 1.
You know, when I said that the FBI didn't do a thing, I was talking about doing something in terms of actual searches and securing these documents. It means that all those initial discoveries we will have to to take the word of counsel of how they were found, the conditions they were found
Did
in.
Mike say when they were
So
taking
here
that
we go.
excavator?
Jonathan Turley, I got to build up on that story, but as of last night, no, you go ahead. The DOJ decides against letting the FBI find and grab classified Biden documents. After all, why not
Said
just
they're
let
gonna
Joe's
take it
boys
at
lead
the end of the day.
Not according to the Wall Street
Yeah,
Journal. You still need a conspiracy perhaps different ways Trump was treated. And we have the latest. Now let's bring in Congressman Jim Banks.
Wonder where
And
it's
I'll share
going.
this story with you that just came across. Fox Now
You might have one more day.
officials did go to President Biden's Wilmington residence to the location classified material was found to retrieve it and take possession. So even though the DOJ decided not to send in FBI agents to monitor the search by the president's personal attorneys, the DOJ did have personnel on the site at Biden's house. With me right now, the Indiana Congressman Jim Banks. Congressman, welcome. What do you think about that new revelation, new wrinkle to this story?
Ryan, what's deeply troubling about all this is how the lengths at which the Biden administration has gone to cover all of this up. I mean, we're just now finding this out. We know that some of this was discovered 6 or 7 days before Election Day. They've kept it all in the dark. Contrast that to the unprecedented move that the Department of Justice made when they raided the home of the former president, Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump, last summer. They tipped off the media. They had television, helicopters flying over Mar-a-Lago. All the cameras were there. They made such a spectacle out of it. But they've done everything they can to cover up the situation with the Bidens, which is far worse than anything that they even accused Donald Trump of in a similar situation. So it just goes to show there are two sets of rules, a two-tiered system of justice in this country. One set of rules for conservatives, for Donald Trump, a different set of rules for anyone named Biden, Clinton, Obama, for those on the left. That's shameful and un-American.
You know what's interesting? The pushback, I'm sure they'll never have another move. But the pushback on Tuesday was, why are Republicans so aggressively and I guess acting as if they're outraged about these documents when the real story is Kevin McCarthy never revealed the agreement he signed off on when it came to him becoming Speaker. That has nothing to do with anything. That's a Republican. That's between Republicans and Republicans. Are you surprised that was a tactic used by the White House to brush you guys back?
I'm not surprised by anything these days. I mean, the lengths at which these guys go through to cover up their hypocrisy every day is laughable. And, you know, I'm back in Indiana to recess week, and we kicked off the campaign for the Senate yesterday with you, yesterday morning, and throughout the day. And let me tell you, Hoosiers are seeing through it. I mean, the normal people in this country, regular Americans, are seeing through it. They get it. They see it for what it is. They're sick and tired of it. They want to turn the page on this president, on the Democrats that are running this country into the ground, and they see how they're doing it. They're abusing the power and the tools that they have with this administration, as from the president to the leaders in Congress, to try to disrupt, to change this country, and using the powers of the Justice Department to do it. We can't let them get away with it.
I mean, number one, if he's Vice President of the United States, and there's some controversy whether he could declassify, word is that Dick Cheney and George W. Bush allowed the Vice President to declassify information. Regardless, you shouldn't take it. And that goes for Trump, too, obviously. There's got to be a system. We'll never have this happen again. Number one, we're mostly digital. And number two, the archives will be there with security anytime there's a transition in power, I would imagine. Unless someone has diabolical intentions. But now we understand on Saturday, more documents were found. And at that time, we had Department of Justice people present, but not the prosecutor in terms of prosecuting whether to find out whether a crime has been committed. So we know this. All week we were told, okay, there was some documents found in a closet. Then we find out there was some found in a garage. And never you could explain that away. And then we found out it was in a separate room. And then we find out 5 more documents in another room and a DOJ present. Congressman Banks, I don't think by any stretch we're done with discovery, do you?
No, I don't. And never forget that the Biden Center is funded by tens and tens of millions of dollars from the Chinese Communist Party. Also, the big story, and I believe this is all related, the big story this week that as well that Hunter Biden was paying his dad $50,000 a month for rent to live in his house.
go back to the what we know to be true, that Hunter Biden was giving 10% off the top of what he was getting from the Chinese Communist Party, from the Russians, from corrupt businesses in Ukraine, to give 10% to the big guy. There's so much, Brian, there's so much corruption here. I think we're just skimming the surface. We owe it to the American people with this new House majority to investigate the corruption of the Biden family, because we can't let anyone ever get away with that level of corruption at the highest level of our government again.
Absolutely. So there's a few things going on. Number one, the fact that these documents were there is significant. And if you talk to someone like Congressman Gallagher, when he was in intelligence with the Marines, he said, if I walked out with one of those documents, I'm looking at years in jail. So anytime people think, what's the big deal, maybe someone made a mistake or packed wrong, just understand how serious our government takes it. If you and I were in the military, you were in the military, right?
Yes, that's right. I served in the military, and Mike Gallagher, my colleague and friend, is exactly right. I mean, if I would have ever violated any of those laws in uniform, I would be behind bars for it, and deservedly so. These incidents on behalf of the President of the United States of America, when he was Vice President, in between his family, and the fact that no one's ever held accountable for it, it's just, America's had enough of it. They're sick and tired of it, and they're demanding justice.
Couple of things. So let's say they're just classified documents. That there should be national secrets, okay? Stuff like, there's Vladimir Putin that is Jim's girlfriend, right? Stuff about world leaders at the highest level that we have no business knowing. Let's say there's other leaders that have similar situations, personal compromised, or whatever it is. Now that's one thing. Now number two, can you imagine those documents are actually retained for a reason? And if one of those reasons connects to any of these business dealings that for the longest time most of the media was flat out ignoring and saying that if anyone pursued it, they were conspiracy theories or just trying to distract from Trump. You're just assuming that it's bad enough they're highly classified. But can you imagine if this helps tell the story of what the vice president was actually up to after and during his reign?
Yeah, we owe it to the American people to figure that out. Keep in mind too that 4 or 5 years ago when we talked about these issues, or just a couple of years ago, before the 2020 election, they called it. Anytime we would raise these questions, they would call it Russian propaganda. The Republicans are pushing Russian propaganda by talking about the corrupt dealings of the Biden family. The media was telling us that. Big Tech was censoring us online when we talked about it. They were saying we were pushing Russian propaganda. And then you go back to Mar-a-Lago for a minute, Brian. What happened there? I mean, I don't know this. I'm speculating. I don't know this, but were those documents keepsakes that Donald Trump wanted to put in the Trump library? Those correspondence between him and Kim Jong-un, or something like that they wanted to store in the library? We don't know, but we owe it to the American people to tell them what it was. Why did that unprecedented raid happen? What is the nature of these documents that the Bidens kept? Is it corruption or not? Answer the question and tell the American people. The FBI won't do that. The Department of Justice won't come forward and tell the truth, tell the American people what the nature of these documents are. You can do that without giving up state secrets and classified information that might pertain to our national security. We owe it to the people to tell them what those documents were related to.
Congressman Jim Banks is with us. He's got to be running for the Senate in Indiana when the current Senator Braun runs for governor. I want you to hear something that I thought was significant, and that is on CNN, they're actually running stories that we were running a year and a half ago, about 2 years ago, about the Biden family. Here's a little of it, and tell me if you think there's a method to this exposure, and timing, cut 16.
The last name gave credibility, initially.
Healthcare entrepreneur Michael Frey told CNN Joe Biden's other brother, James, broke financial promises he made while referencing the Biden name. Frey's company filed a lawsuit alleging fraud by James Biden, who denied the claim. Frey spoke to CNN before the lawsuit settled in 2020.
Everything was on the Biden name, and so we took that to heart.
James Biden was also named in a lawsuit filed in July. He allegedly received about $600,000 in loans in 2018 from a company he worked with, AmeriCorps Health, based upon representations that his last name Biden could open doors, and that he could obtain a large investment from the Middle East based on his political connections. The suit states that the investment was never delivered. The lawsuit was settled, though James Biden denied the allegations in court filings. He did not respond to a request for comment.
I just want to give you a slice of a story that they could have run 2.5 years ago that we've discussed, that books have been written about, and they've thoroughly ignored. And I'm just giving it a feed now. I'm sure you weren't watching CNN this morning. What's your take?
Yeah, corruption dealings before the 2020 election, and we were told that we were pushing Russian propaganda, that these were lies, that not true. We were censored when we talked about it, and now even CNN is conceding that it's real, that it's true, that the Bidens are the most corrupt family ever to occupy the White House. The way they went after Donald Trump and the Trump family every single day for 4 years, and making outrageous allegations toward the Trump family, and then we find out that the Biden family is 100 times worse than anything, and that they've actually literally done things that they wrongly accused the Trump family of, and now they finally get around to talking about it. It's shameful. It makes me angry because I really do believe the outcome of the 2020 election would have been a lot different and a lot better for this country if we weren't censored from talking about the truth of the Biden family dealings before the last election.
So this Thursday, the debt ceiling is going to be hit. You can move some money around to delay, but you guys are going to have to vote on that. And the president's made it clear through the press secretary and others that they're not going to negotiate. They just want it to be raised. And we know there's a deal cut for Kevin McCarthy. If he ever thought about raising the debt ceiling without getting some type of cuts in spending, he's going to lose half his caucus, maybe more. So how does this end up, Carson Banks?
I think we owe it to America to use the debt limit as a leverage point for a fight over fiscal responsibility and balancing the budget, cutting wasteful spending, and setting us down the path to do that. So we have a moral duty in the House. We've been given the majority. Now we have to use it. There will be squishy Republicans who want us to just roll over and raise the debt limit and move on. This is why I'm running for the Senate. It's no time for squishy weak Republicans anymore. We need fighters in the House and the Senate who are going to push back and use the abilities, the powers that we have as elected officials to restore this country, to send us down a path of fiscal responsibility, and we have a chance to do that with this debt limit.
You know, I'm sure you may or may not remember when Obamacare rolled out, the computers didn't work. It was a story for one day, but then the government shut down and it became the #1 story, and Obama kind of mocked Republicans saying, guys, he could have been killing me, but now they're killing you. So how do you do something that you think is responsible and not get blamed for not paying our debt as a country?
Yeah, it's a leverage point. It's a moment, a few moments that we'll have in this next Congress